So this video we're going to look at the JU-06 by Roland. We're going to start off looking at the LFO. So here's the LFO. We have a rate and delay time. So we can't actually do anything yet until we assign something to it. So we're going to go into the DCO, that is digitally controlled oscillator. So we can change the range. Right now we are in saw wave. And if I hold this down, you can see we can change the octave there. Now that's not the same as changing the keyboard octave here. If you want to do that, you hold down 2, and then you'll see the octave we're in, and go an octave higher, for example, and then back down. Next we're looking here, let's go to LFO. So what this is going to do is telling the pitch, okay, we're assigning the pitch to the LFO. There's only one LFO on here, just so you're aware. So I'm going to press a note and turn the LFO up. As you'll see, we're not hearing anything. Just a slight pitch, so that's because the rate's all the way down. So if we bring the rate up, then you can kind of hear it. So if we turn this LFO up, it's going to change the difference of pitch. So I'm going to bring it really high up, and that way we can really hear it being affected. And the delay time, let's say we turn that up a little, you'll hear it fade in. The further up you go, the longer it'll take. Okay, so that's LFO. Now, next we have PWM. PWM, it's pulse width modulation, and that only affects the square wave. So I just switched to square. And right now we have to set it to manual, because now we can hear. We have all that range of sounds we can do. If we switch it to LFO, we bring the LFO up. You can definitely hear that. We can also turn the saw wave on at the same time, just to really thicken up the sound. So any combination of those. And also we have next is a sub oscillator. So there it is, just turn that up. So you can kind of mix that in too and get really deep tones with it. Next we have noise. So we would kind of use noise to bring a different kind of tone, especially when you're working with the cutoff and resonance here. But next, let's look over at frequency of HPF, that's high pass filter. If I press a note here, and let's say turn up the frequency, you can hear it on the lower end, just cuts off the low end, which can be used to bring in different tones. Next we have frequency here, that's the low pass filter. And the resonance kind of emphasizes it. So if you want more emphasis, you bring that resonance up. Now, in order to modify that filter, we have first off a switch here. Okay, the switch kind of inverts whatever we're running this through, and this all applies again to this filter. So let's bring up the envelope, for example, and then that brings us over here. Okay, that's a way you can form all of this. So let's bring the envelope up. You can't hear anything yet, but I'm going to change this so that it will change. So what I did was I changed the envelope, brought the envelope up here, and you can, the higher you bring this, the more it's going to alter that envelope. Alright, next we have LFO, and of course we can combine these. LFO, now that applies the LFO to the filter. So the LFO to the filter. Next we have keyboard. This will modify the amount of the filter that's affected the lower or higher you are in the keyboard itself. Next we're looking at VCA, that's voltage control amp. So that means what that is it's kind of like the volume and how it works. So right now I just have level all the way up. Now with this switch you can have it alter the envelope or just have a pure sustain and nothing else. Okay. Or you can have it use the envelope. So let's bring up the attack a little, bring up the release a little. Okay. Next I just want to look at the chorus here. So there's 1 and 2. So there's chorus 1. Let's press chorus 2. And then you can press both, and that turns them both on. Alright, so I just turned the chorus off, and now let's look at the delay. Okay, so just so you're aware, this one, when you do manual 6, okay, that is the volume of the delay. Manual 7 gives you the measure of time of the delay. So if you bring it down here, it's much faster. Whereas if you bring it up here, and the last one here is the feedback. So if you want it to repeat a lot, then you bring it higher. If you want it to repeat less, you bring it lower. Okay, so that's with high feedback. Let's bring it to low feedback. You'll hear the difference. You hear it just plays it just one more time if it's lower. And over on our left here we have the pitch bend. And then over here we have mod. So what that usually does is go over to the LFO and apply it to the pitch. What I like to do is add just a little bit of LFO on the pitch, just to make it a little detuned. Okay, so now let's look at the sequencer really quick. So right here we just hold this down, press manual, okay? And what this does is it opens our sequencer mode. So all you have to do is press a step and then press the note that you want to play. If you want to remove it, you just press the button again. Okay, so I just inserted those in. You can go on further to here. So you have 16 steps. If you want to play it, then press this button. So if you want to change the speed of this, you just hold this down and then you can turn this. And over here, what this is the gate. So hold down to and change that. The note gate will change, as you can hear. To exit sequence mode, you just press 2 and then manual again, and you're back to normal.